Hello, a warm greeting to everyone. I am Om Kodasra from TYVPT student going to present some information about fracture healing. Let's start. Fracture healing. The healing of fracture is in many ways similar to the healing of soft tissue wound, except that soft tissue heads with fibrous tissue and result of bone healing is mineralized mesocycling tissue. Stages in fracture healing of the cortical bone. Five stages of the fracture healing. First stage is stage of hematoma. Second stage is granulation tissue. Third stage is callus. Fourth stage is remodeling, and fifth stage is modeling. Stage of hematoma. This stage lasts up to 7 days. When a bone is fractured, blood leaks out the throat, turn vessels in the bone, and form a hematoma between and around the fracture. The peristomium and local soft tissue are stripped from the fracture. This results in ischemic necrosis of the fracture and over a variable length, usually only a few millimeters. Deprived of their blood supply, some osteocytes, other are sensitized to respond subsequently by differentiating into daughter cells. These cells later contribute to the healing process. Second stage of granulation tissue. This stage lasts for about 2-3 weeks. In this stage, the sensitized precursor cells produce cells which differentiates and organize to provide blood vessels, fibroblast, osteoblast. Collectively, the from soft granulation tissue in the space between the fracture fragment. This cellular tissue eventually give a soft tissue to fracture without any structural rigidity. The blood clot gives rise to a loose fibrous mass which serve as a framework for the ingrowth of fibroblasts and new capillaries. The clot is eventually removed by macrophage giant cells and other cells arranging in the granulation tissue. Third stage of callus. This stage lasts for about 4 to 12 weeks. In this stage, granulation tissue differentiates further and creates osteoblasts. This cell lay down an intracellular matrix which soon become impregnated with calcium salts. This result in formulation of the callus, also called woven bone. The callus is the first signs of a union visible on X-rays, usually 3 weeks after the fracture. The formation of this bridge of woven bone impart good strength to the fracture. Callus formation is slower in adult than in children, and in cortical bones than in calcaneus bone. Stage of remodeling. Fourth, formerly called the stage of consolidation. In this stage, the woven bone is replaced by mature bone with a typical lamellar structure. This process of change is multicellular unit based vary by pocket of callus is replaced by a pocket of lamellar bone. It is a slow process and takes anything from 1 to 4 years. Last stage of modeling. In this stage, the bone is gradually strengthened. The sharpening of cortex occurs at the endosteal and periosteal surface. The major stimulus to this process comes from local bone strain, weight bearing, stress, and muscle force when the person activity. Thank you.